Are you a coach looking to make more sales? If that's the case, then this video is for you.
We all win when we all win. We all win when we all win.
Hey there, my friend. I'm Super Sid, the Marketing Shaman, and I help coaches and healers create their first or their next 10K paydays where they go out there and generate $10,000 for their coaching or their healing business in 30 days or less using a profitable presentation. And in today's video, we specifically are going to be going over my specific sales strategy, but the sales strategy that we use with our profitable presentations that actually helps us quadruple the amount of people that we make sales to from our profitable presentations. And I'm going to tell you, these are some backward strategies that like no one has ever thought about doing before, especially when I went out there and started talking and speaking about these strategies at multiple events. So I'm super excited to go over with you on this video today. If you're brand new to this channel and you're looking to make more money, this channel is all about helping coaches and healers make more money. So make sure to click down there and subscribe so that you can get notified every single time we come out with a new training video designed to help coaches and healers make more money. Without any further ado, let's head in to this training. All right, so first things first, when it comes to my sales strategy, the first thing that we did specifically when we were going out there and looking to make more money and spend a lot less time in regards to finding clients is we got rid of something that a lot of coaches actually do, and we got rid of discovery calls. You ever heard of that? You ever heard of this thing called a discovery call where you call and you find discovery and see if they're a good fit? Here's the thing though, you're calling to do this discovery call, you're calling to go in there and demonstrate or show them specifically, exactly how you might be able to help them, but it's one-on-one communication. So you are going there and without any demonstration or with even knowing, if they're going to be a good fit, you're just getting on the phone and hoping that they're a good fit and that they're qualified. And the truth of the matter is we found when we were doing a lot of discovery, we were doing a lot of chasing, we were doing a lot of running around in circles, trying to find people who are qualified instead of just flipping it and attracting people to us who did have their hand raised and we knew were qualified through doing things like profitable presentations. By taking discovery calls out, we were actually able to work 30% less last year. But as you've heard me talk about, actually able to make 4 times more sales in our coaching business simply because we were doing profitable presentations consistently and getting away from discovery calls. So the first thing we did was we took out discovery calls and we completely stopped doing discovery calls in our coaching business, which helped us make a lot more money in the process. All right, now that we got rid of discovery calls, the next thing we needed to identify is where are we gonna make sales if we're not doing discovery calls? And ultimately what we started doing was when we started running these profitable presentations. Now our profitable presentations were being ran at things like virtual events and sometimes live events depending on what they were. Sometimes our profitable presentations were done to clients only, to where we wanted to upsell those clients. Sometimes they were done to brand new people who had just found us. Sometimes they were automated, sometimes they were live. There was a lot of different ways that we could run our profitable presentations, and there was a lot of different ways that we could deliver those profitable presentations. It didn't always have to be a Zoom meeting, and it didn't always have to be in a Facebook group, but ultimately, we were consistently putting on profitable presentations where we were telling our story and then walking people through, step by step, how to solve a problem on their journey to reaching the goal that you're hoping to help them with, in your coaching business, and helping them reach the goal, which is going to help them get closer to pleasure or farther away from pain, So ultimately, one of the things that we like to do after during our profitable presentations is after we get done teaching, there's 3 parts to our profitable presentation. There's going to be, the intro, what we call the intro, then there's going to be the teaching or the content section or the secret section that we call it, and then after that we go into the sales portion, which is making our offer. So ultimately, in between the teaching and the sales portion, we have this thing that we call a pre-close, or ultimately what is called, the conditional close. Now, you might have heard of this before, and you might have heard of the conditional close being used on things like sales calls, but we use the conditional close every single profitable presentation that we run or virtual event that we run. What we do is once we get done teaching, we then meet the people that are there at that profitable presentation. We identify, who is still there. We look and identify how many people are still there, and ultimately, if it's a smaller profitable presentation, who specifically are those people so that we can identify them with our own eyes. But then we go into what we classify as a conditional close. So what we do is we want to meet them where they're at first, and then we want to let them know that we've been there before, and then we want to transition into why we put on this profitable presentation to begin with, which is going to slide right into what we call our sales stack. So ultimately, when we're running this conditional close, this script might sound something like this. Buy now, So buy now, who is feeling overwhelmed? And you would then start with a question so you can get people interacting and engaging. Make sure that people are still alive, right, at your profitable presentation. They're still functioning. So when we do the conditional close, it goes something like this. Now we're going to start with what we classify as buy now statements. And buy now statements are important because it starts to anchor into buy now and ultimately take action now on the offer that we're about to present to them. So ultimately we use these buy now statements by saying, buy now, you might be feeling this, or buy now, you might be feeling that. So you might be saying you might be feeling overwhelmed, or you might be feeling a little bit like, you might be feeling excited or whatever it might be. And then we'll basically ask people what we classify as command someone's compliant and ask somebody to do something for us, like raise our hand, comment, or whatever it might be, so that we can identify who is feeling that emotion that we are telling them, that we are talking to them about. We'll then transition into what we classify as this conditional close, where it's going to go into something like buy now. Buy now, you might be feeling this way. And I completely understand and have felt that way in the past. Now, I don't know how in the world that you might have found me or how in the world you got to this presentation. Maybe you found me on my podcast. Maybe you found me on my YouTube channel. Maybe you're in my Facebook group. Maybe you saw a random ad. I don't know. But ultimately, right, I hope that by coming to this presentation today, you've seen who I am, you've seen what I do, and ultimately you've seen who it is that I help and how I like to help the people that it is that I help. And if there's one thing that I do know, I know that it doesn't matter where you're trying to get to in life, it doesn't matter what goals that you are trying to achieve, you're going to need some help, just like I needed some help. And ultimately, right, I'm here today because I simply want to be that help. And that's why I would like to offer you, and then that's when you go into your sales stack and then go straight into the name. But as you can see, right, that wasn't perfect, that's not a script, but it's real. And ultimately, right, we are transitioning and we are being real with our clients, letting them know where they're at, ultimately where we've been at, and letting them know that no matter where they want to get at, they're going to need some help, and that we are simply here to give that help, transitioning straight into our sales stack so that we can have a transition into a sales stack and get a lot of clients that sign up with our coaching package. All right, so we talked about your conditional close. Now let's go into where your best clients are going to come from. And where your best clients come from is through what we classify as your sales stack. So your sales stack comes at the end of your presentation. When I'm talking about signing up multiple people at once from your presentations, it comes from what we classify as your sales stack. These are the people that are going to take action pretty immediately. You're usually going to find people pulling out credit cards, leaning forward, during that, waiting for that offer to be presented. But ultimately, right, you're usually, once one person signs up, you're usually going to see a few more people sign up right after that. Kind of like Win in Rome type deal is kind of what we've always seen it as, but it's went on forever, and it's usually energy and momentum that's being gathered, because when one person does it, the people that are on the fence usually fall over and want to do it as well. So ultimately, by putting together our sales stack and by explaining our offer with all the things that are in our offer that's going to be able to help people at the end of this presentation, we're now putting our offer in a very perfect alignment with teeing it up and helping people and getting the reciprocity piece into this and all of this stuff, right? But we are specifically going out there, we're demonstrating that we can help people, we're helping people, we're helping them solve a problem at that profitable presentation, at that virtual event, at that live event. And then after they get that help, we're simply asking them if they would like to get our help more through showing them in our sales stack exactly what our offer is and how it can help them, and then opening that cart and asking them if they would like to come and get our help more. All right, so we just talked about where you're going to get your best clients, and that's through your sales stack, conditional close, then going into your sales stack right at your profitable presentations. But that's definitely not the only way. That's where a lot of people think it stops. That's where a lot of people think that you got to run what they classify as a webinar. We do not, profitable presentations are not webinars, right? But they're going to run a virtual event or whatever it might be, and ultimately, right, they're going to think that people have to sign up at the end of that. If they don't sign up, then they're dead in the water. But ultimately, that's not how it goes at all. In fact, a lot of times we get a lot of people that sign up through what we call strategy calls. Okay. Now, a strategy call is different from a discovery call because ultimately these calls are 15 minutes or less, and we are reaching out to answer any questions that someone might have had at that profitable presentation, and ultimately answer any questions that they have around our big idea, around how we can help them, or around the offer that's being presented to them at this time. But these calls are what we classify as strategy calls, and we like to follow up with people who were there for the that came to the profitable presentation, but ultimately did not sign up for whatever reason. So what we do is we reach out to these people while that card is open and schedule what we classify as a strategy call with them. And then during the strategy call, we ultimately answer 1 or 2 questions that they might have, and then make the exact same offer to help them, right? And ask them if they would like to continue getting our help, which is where we typically consistently are making multiple sales each week on top of the multiple sales that we make each week with our sales tag. But Sid, what happens if not a lot of people come? Well, let me give you a really quick stat. Do you know the stat on how many people come to virtual events or come to any event that they sign up with, no matter if it's a birthday party or if it's a game? I mean, there are people that spend thousands of dollars to go to sports games and they don't even show up. It's crazy to me. But ultimately, right, you know the stat when it comes to virtual events, like you're going to get like on average, and this is like a really, really good stat, like if you're able to get 1/3, that's 33 out of 100 people that register and they actually come to your live event or come to your event that you're running, that is incredible. So I want you to know that it's very, very common that people are going to register for an event, but they're going to forget, something's going to come up, and they're just not going to be able to come to the event. So what we want to make sure that we do is that we invite them to come to the next event, or we get them to go watch a replay. So ultimately, right, we want to get them to get back to either watching that replay while that offer is open, but then if the offer closes, we then want to invite them to come to the next presentation. So basically, right, we're looking to invite them back and ultimately helping them again and offering to help them again. Now, some people are gonna be like, well, why would they want to come back to the same presentation? Well, let me ask you a question. Did you ever watch the movie Titanic twice? Or maybe you watched The Notebook twice. I don't know which one it was, but ultimately, right, just because, here's a good one, did you ever listen to the same song twice? But ultimately, right, if they want that help and they're still stuck, they're of course going to come back to that profitable presentation. They're of course going to come back to that event. And you doing this consistently is going to be the key to you consistently inviting more and more people that raise their hand wanting to come but aren't able to make it, which is ultimately going to build momentum, get more people coming to your presentations, which is ultimately in the long run going to help you be presenting to more and more people and ultimately signing up more and more people at your profitable presentation. Are you a coach or a healer who's looking to go out there and have a consistent strategy of making sales? Well, if that's the case, and I just got done with a free gift for you called my Perfect Profitable Presentation Pack, and yes, it's going to go over with you the exact formula that we have when it comes to building your perfect profitable presentation that you're going to be able to go out there and use to make more money. It's absolutely free, and you can take action right now and go down there in the description and grab your free copy of the Perfect Profitable Presentation Pack, which is going to include my masterclass, my slides, my template, everything that you need to be able to go out there and build your Perfect Profitable Presentation Pack here in about an hour so that you can use it here in the next 30 days to go out there and make money. We actually just added into this pack a brand new course, 30 days supporting you after you build your perfect profitable presentation, helping you go out there, right, and make money with it, getting on the journey to creating your first or your next 10K payday, just like we did, which doesn't seem like too long ago. So ultimately, right, I'm super excited for you to go down there into this description and grab your Perfect Profitable Presentation Pack right now so that you can get on your journey to creating your first or your next 10K payday. Now, let's don't forget, we all win when we all win. Let's go out there and make a choice to win today, not only by subscribing to this channel, but by going down there into that description and grabbing your free Perfect Profitable Presentation Pack right now. We'll see you in the next video.